Well, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you've all had a good morning. Just to give you a few introductions, my name's Lizzie. Thank you for joining me today. Sort of very much today, I'm going to be exploring how AI-driven sort of strategies can transform mid-value and major donor management. But just first, a little bit of information about me. This is my second year, but for those that didn't join last year, I began my career in fundraising. So I've worked for organisations like Macmillan Cancer Support, and since then I've been bringing new technology to charities. I've been with Dataro for 3 years now. I'm also addicted to coffee. I love playing tennis, and behind me is on a very comfortable bed is my ex-guide dog, Delphi. So that's just a little bit about me. Just to go through the agenda for today, I'll take you through some brief overviews of Dataro and AI in fundraising, and then we'll lean into how AI can specifically be used to identify, engage, and retain mid-value donors, as well as those in the major giving category. I'm also going to include some real-world case studies and practical strategies that you can implement. And what we're going to finish up on is just a few thoughts on ethical AI implementation. So that will be at the end of the session. So let's crack on in. So here's a bit of information about Dataro for those that haven't heard of us before. We've been around since 2017, and we were founded by a trio of data lovers who wanted to make this type of technology available to the charity sector. Dataro is now at the forefront of AI-driven fundraising, and we work exclusively with over 300 nonprofits globally, from the very small organizations to the very large. But what's Dataro? We're an AI-powered fundraising software platform that allows you to unlock the full value of your donor database to ultimately help organizations identify and engage donors more effectively. And we're working to solve 3 main challenges for charities: missing out on gifts and opportunities, reducing fundraising costs, both in terms of time and money, and also looking at lack of team capacity. We all know as fundraisers, that's probably one of the limiting factors is time. So what we're trying to do is help organizations do more with less. Our core capabilities center around using predictive AI. So just as a refresher, when someone talks about predictive AI, what they're really talking about is machine learning. And when you hear machine learning, think pattern analysis. This is better for tasks requiring accuracy, for example, pinpointing the best donors to steward towards mid-value and major giving. So using Dataro's predictive models and insights, organizations are able to see exactly what to do with each supporter at any given time and create the perfect fundraising campaign tailored to each and every donor. So we offer this comprehensive predictive profile of each supporter, enabling you to understand the precise next step that should be in their journey with your charity. And just to talk a little bit about the modelling, we build accurate predictive models, but it does have its challenges. And for those building their own models, even the biggest charities with enormous databases have proportionately very few, for example, major gifts or mid-value gifts, which are needed to train an AI model on. And that's why charities trying to build really struggle, and it's nigh on impossible. There simply aren't enough examples of the actions they're trying to predict to confidently say what factors are most important and which aren't. An effective way around this is to build foundational models, and that's exactly what Dataro does. Instead of being restricted exclusively to the patterns and trends visible in just one charity, using its own data alone, we're building models using hundreds of organizations' data. So these models are going to have greater accuracy and solve issues like overfit, which in sort of statistics and pattern analysis is finding patterns that aren't actually predictive. So just to give you a little bit of an insight into that, our data pool, this is our data pool from our global community and allows us to build these models. All the data that we use is anonymized and de-identified, and it's all behavioral data. And you can see here the power of this vast data intelligence pool. We've got over 60 million donors, 13 million recurring givers or monthly donors, and nearly 800 million donations to build our models off. So what data can AI actually look at, and how is it going to help you fundraise more effectively? Every day, your supporters provide invaluable insights into how you can best engage with them, captured as thousands of data points across various platforms. But here's the challenge: data is everywhere, yet more often than not, doesn't connect seamlessly across your systems. And as a sector, we've invested significant time and resources into building systems to collect and store this data. However, we often lack the internal expertise, budget, and again, time to actually harness it to its full potential. At Dataro, we firmly believe that data should be at the heart of every fundraising strategy. And I think for the last sort of 20 years, the charity sector has been trying to solve this challenge. Yet the consistent feedback is that many organizations feel they haven't fully realized the goal of becoming completely data-driven in terms of their strategies. So very much that's what we're trying to help organizations focus on. There's lots of AI tools out there that are now changing the way that organizations are fundraising. And at scale, using these tools, they can now, for example, move beyond guesswork by immediately identifying donors most likely, to contribute to mid-value and major giving levels. You can highlight donors with the potential to increase their contributions very easily, as well as refining supporter journeys, such as stewardship journeys, ensuring that donors receive personalized engagement that maximizes lifetime value. So moving on to sort of mid-value and major giving specifically, and the opportunities with AI with these levels of giving. Firstly, mid-value can mean something different to each organization. So just to confirm the definitions for today, for a major donor, we're looking at between 5,000 euros over 12 months. For mid-value, anything between 500 euros and 4,999 over 12 months. And for standard value, we consider anything less than 500 euros over 12 months. Every organization's got different definitions for this, and incidentally at Dataro, we're able to redefine our models based on an organization's specific definitions. So just to highlight that. So everything that I'm going to show you now is coming from our global data pool. This is all our benchmarking data from all the organizations that we work with. And this is really sort of helping you showcase why you should be focusing on growing mid-value and major giving. These figures have been taken from our data intelligence pool, as I said, and mid-value is growing faster than any other program, with a 10% growth over the last 5 years. Major gifts are also seeing significant growth at 8% across all the organizations that we work with. This growth in mid-value and major giving is happening during a time when 57.2% of the charities we're working with are seeing a decline in donors year on year. The job of a fundraiser is getting harder ultimately with less donors. So it's important to lean into the donors and programs that are going to sustain the charity long term. And when we followed a cohort of donors over a 5-year period from 2018 to 2023, across, as I said, our data intelligence pool, we can see that mid-value donors give 9 times more than standard value donors. And for major donors, this is many times more. This really highlights why fundraisers need to give this cohort of donors the attention that they deserve. Across all the programs that I've worked on, mid-value donors often fall into a bit of a grey area. They don't receive the same level of attention as major donors, but they're also too valuable to be treated like those standard valued donors. Fundraisers often struggle to dedicate time and resources to thoroughly research and prioritize these donors. Fundraisers wear many hats, and mid-value donor cultivation can be time-consuming, and with limited staff and also time, fundraisers may not have the capacity to properly manage donor engagement, leading to missed opportunities. There is a difficulty in prioritizing donors for outreach. With hundreds of thousands of mid-value donors in a database, it's difficult to know which ones to contact first or which may be ready for a high-value ask. Fundraisers may feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume and miss key engagement opportunities. There's also limited ability to personalize outreach. Mid-value donors often receive generic communications that don't reflect their unique contribution level or engagement history, and this can create a disconnect between the donor and the organization, reducing the chances of long-term loyalty. And often mid-value are sort of the radar, they're under the radar, their prospects are missed. Traditional methods often overlook potential value givers who haven't exhibited obvious giving behaviours. And without the right tools, it's easy to miss donors who are capable of giving more, but haven't been engaged in a targeted way. So what are the challenges with mid-value programs? Firstly, it's tricky for organisations to define the mid-value segment. Determining the right donation threshold and criteria for mid-value donors can be tough, and it varies by organisation and donor behaviour. Stewardship and personalisation. Mid-value donors expect more engagement than regular donors, not just as much as major donors, but making it difficult to balance that personalised stewardship with cost effectiveness. Pipeline development. Identifying and cultivating mid-value donors as potential future major donors requires strategic planning and data-driven insights. And in terms of retention and upgrading, keeping mid-value donors engaged and moving them towards that higher level of giving is a challenge, especially without a clear journey mapped out. Then we've got cross-sell and multi-channel engagement. Understanding how mid-value donors engage across different channels, for example, direct mail or digital or special events, and optimizing outreach accordingly can be very complex. And finally, the ROI and resource allocation piece. Justifying investment in mid-value fundraising teams or initiatives when the ROI might not be immediate or as obvious as major gifts can also be challenging. But AI is here to help. So AI tools can analyze donor behavior, past giving history, a wide range of other data points such as interaction history, social media engagement, to automatically identify which mid-value donors are most likely to give again or increase their donations. This enables you to focus your efforts on the highest priority donors, saving in time and ensuring more effective outreach. AI tools can help in crafting personalized messages, enabling you to tailor your outreach at scale and delivering a more personal experience, even for large groups of mid-value donors. And AI can identify hidden opportunities by analysing donors who may not have given at the mid-level value, but showing characteristics or patterns of behaviour that other mid-value givers have gone on to display, suggesting that they have that potential to upgrade. So that's what we're looking at in terms of lookalike audiences. It also can help uncover these under-the-radar prospects and help you reach out before they're lost to other organisations. And finally, AI tools are also there to feed back on performance, tracking trends in acquisition, retention, and giving patterns to help you routinely hone your strategies and maximize impact. So here are a few practical tips to help you get started. First, it's very much about identifying your existing mid-level donors. Analyze your donor database to identify existing donors who meet the criteria for mid-value giving. As I said, typically those between giving 500 and 4,999 euros annually. This will form the base of your mid-level program, but don't arbitrarily set the giving level. Let your data guide where the optimal transition point is for your organisation between standard, mid and major giving. Find your top prospects. Use AI to identify your best mid-level prospects from your donor file. These are donors showing the highest potential to become mid-level givers, and segment these prospects separately from your current mid-level donors. You also want to define your mid-level program goals. Determine the goals of your mid-level program. Is it focused on increasing renewal rates, cultivating donors to become major givers, or is it something else? This will shape your engagement strategies. Metrics like consistent execution of a plan are much more important than just looking at response rates. Also develop an engagement plan. Create a multi-channel engagement plan for your mid-level donors and prospects over a 6 to 12-month period. This can include more personal mailings, emails, phone calls, events, premium exclusive content, but the goal is ultimately to build deeper connections. Considering developing a mid-value giving product, which invites your donors to be part of a special collective goal. Implement uplift tactics and specialized communications within your appeals, such as personalization, investment proposals and lifts, and look at more intimate look at your organization's work. Be specific, present the case and support for targeted fundraising. In terms of planned communications, craft multiple cases to support and align with your organization's fundraising strategy. And all the while, make sure you are consistently reviewing results, experiment and do tests. Qualified donors also moving in and out of mid-level program. You don't need to keep, if they don't fit that definition, move them out and be efficient in that vein. But very much refine your strategies over time for improvement. So now just moving on to major donors, which is slightly different. Some of these challenges are going to be the same with mid-value, but there are a few that are obviously different. It's again very tricky identifying the right prospects for major giving. I think stewardship and philanthropy teams all struggle with the same challenge in this vein. Finding individuals with both the financial capacity and the inclination to give to your cause can be difficult, and that requires strong research and wealth screening. Also requires building those long-term relationships, which major gifts are rarely a one-time transaction. They require years of cultivation, stewardship, and relationship management. In terms of the personalization and stewardship, major donors expect high levels of personalized engagement, which again are time-consuming and resource-intensive for fundraising teams. You also need to be able to understand their motivations. Each major donor has unique interests, priorities, and giving triggers, making it challenging to align their goals with the organization's needs. It's also about balancing solicitation and stewardship, knowing when and how to ask for a significant gift without damaging the relationship or overwhelming the donor can be hard to navigate. You also need to, with major donors, demonstrate impact. Major donors expect clear and compelling evidence of how their contributions make a difference, requiring strong impact reporting and storytelling. The retention and repeat giving, encouraging ongoing support from major donors without making them feel pressured or taken for granted can be tricky, but ultimately they might not just give one big gift, they might be giving to other programs as well, and that sort of level of asks, a lot of organizations choose to just focus on that one major gift, whereas a lot of organizations see if they can be regularly getting those small gifts from their major donors, that actually improves the relationship and actually the result of the major gift over time. Also, competition from other charities. Wealthy philanthropists are often approached by multiple organisations, so making it essential that it's very much about creating a compelling case for support and standing out from other organisations. So these are just some of the key challenges in major giving. And again, AI is here to help. It can help identify high potential major donors. Machine learning analyzes supported data and predicts which donors have the highest likelihood of becoming major donors in the future. And this helps fundraisers focus on the right prospects rather than relying solely on things like wealth screening or manual research. Also, enhancing donorship and stewardship engagement. AI provides insights into donor behaviour and preferences, allowing a more personalised outreach and engagement strategy. It also helps segment donors based on propensity scores to tailor communications and stewardship activities. And it can also improve that ask timing and gift size optimization. AI can predict when a donor is most likely to give and recommends appropriate gift sizes based on past giving patterns. Thus, that ensures fundraisers are always going to make the right ask at the right time and increase that conversion rate ultimately for that major gift at the end. Also, cross-selling and multi-channel integration. AI identifies donors engaging across different fundraising streams and flags potential major donor opportunities based on these patterns of behaviour. And this helps build a seamless journey from mid-level to major giving using AI-driven recommendations. And finally, again, measuring impact and ROI around your major giving programme. AI insights and reporting tools provide clear data on major donor performance, which again allows you to hone your strategy over time. Here are some other things around, in terms of best tips around major giving programs. Firstly, it's again about identifying your major giving criteria. Every organisation is different when it comes to this level of criteria, so it's again about leaning in to your donor database to identify current major donors to form the foundation of your programme. Donors giving major gifts should be identified in your database, in your CRM, as a major donor and put into individual stewardship and engagement plans to maintain their giving. And you also need to understand what's motivating them as well. It's critical to understand your donors better, who they are, how long they've been giving to your cause, how and why do they give, and receive feedback via a personal phone call or survey. This will help major donor content to help acquire and steward moving forward, and you can apply that to new major donors moving into your pipeline. Develop that engagement plan for them. Develop personalised email journeys with exclusive opportunities. Create special events and opportunities such as behind the curtain tours of your operational facilities. Sponsor opportunities to provide match giving for fundraising activities. Do thank you calls from the CEO or director of fundraising over a certain threshold, and create impact reports to demonstrate the ROI of a major donor's gift. You've also got to be in the background continuously to identify new major giving prospects and using AI to identify prospects and confirm donors within your existing stewardship pipeline. Wealth screening can be a powerful tool when used in conjunction with AI predictions, allowing you to identify not only the donor's capacity, but the likelihood of them becoming a major donor to your organisation. And again, constantly refining your strategies and performance using AI will enable you to understand which donors to transition in and out of your major giving programme, moving those out that maybe have got a less likelihood of giving, and moving new ones in that are showing all the signs of going on to become a major giver. So that's all in terms of tax. I just want to take you through a couple of sort of real life case studies. Firstly, we have Save the Children in the Netherlands. They've been using Dataro's mid-value propensity model for a while now. And first, when we started working with them, the charity identified new mid-value prospects and converted over 359 new donors to mid-value via their appeals and loyalty communications. The charity's end of year 2023 appeal raised record level of income driven by the substantial lift in mid-value gifts and a record number of new mid-value donors. And they've gone on to refine their strategy year on year since they first started working with Dataro. This is a case study with UNHCR in Australia. They first actually tested Dataro's AI-driven predictions against their traditional segmentation methods for mid-level donors. The AI identified prospects generated over $175,000 in additional revenue, contributing to a total of $658,000 in mid-value income, which is incredible. And the test alone converted 34 new donors into mid-level giving and increased their median gift size, improving engagement across the board. It also drove a 45% year-on-year increase in non-mid-level income, providing AI's ability to unlock hidden opportunities and boost donor revenue across the board. And here we've got a case study around major donors. This is actually with the Royal Flying Doctors Service, which is a big organisation, and when they had a real issue with pinpointing the best prospects with major giving, and it was a big challenge for them over the years. When they partnered with Dataro, the goal was to use machine learning to first confirm the capacity of their existing major donor prospects, but also to prioritise which donors to steward for the best results. Dataro's major donor predictions are now an integral part of their major donor prospecting and stewardship process. And in the last year, they've grown major gift revenue in excess of 15% year on year. So really fantastic results. So just to finish up, I want to just quickly have a chat about how nonprofits can harness AI responsibly. I know it's always an interesting subject talking to fundraisers. So I've talked a lot about how AI can revolutionize your fundraising, but it's important to ensure that it's adopted responsibly. Also, adopting any new technology can be overwhelming, so I wanted to finish off with a few thoughts on the questions you should be asking and the steps you should be taking before bringing on any new technology. This isn't to scare you off, far from it. Over the last years at Dataro, I've worked with many clients to navigate the internal steps needed to adopt AI successfully. AI is ultimately transforming the way organizations operate, and charities are no exception. From automating administrative tasks to improving engagement with supporters, AI offers powerful benefits that simply cannot be ignored, especially at a time when fundraising is getting harder. Adopting new tools to achieve better outcomes is going to be essential. So, however, it's important to approach AI adoption thoughtfully, ensuring it aligns with your organization's missions and values. So here we've got some ethical principles for you to consider. So, trust and transparency. Transparency with your supporters builds trust. So when using AI, clearly communicate to supporters how it's being used, especially when it comes to decision making. If AI-generated content is being used in communications, make sure to disclose it. Open AI policies will help reassure your supporters and maintain trust. Always maintain the sort of human-AI collaboration. AI should complement human expertise, not replace it, especially in high-stake decisions. AI can enhance our work, but final decisions should remain with people who understand the context and any ethical implications. Also remember, you're the fundraising experts and you're masters in relationship building. You might, in fact, have insights to contribute which enhance the AI or the other way around. Training is also essential. Teams need regular updates on ethical AI use, ensuring we remain compliant with evolving regulations whilst maintaining public trust. By embedding these practices into our AI strategies, we can use technology responsibly without compromising ethical standards. And finally, another important one is bias mitigation and monitoring. AI is only as fair as the data it's trained on. Bias can creep in unintentionally, so it's essential to use diverse data sets and conduct regular checks. This is one of the benefits of working with Dataro, for example. We ensure that diversity in a representative data set, and we're constantly auditing and rebuilding our models to ensure there is no bias in our predictions. But it's something to always consider with any AI software or tool that you're using. So how do we turn these ethical principles into practice? A first crucial step is conducting a data protection impact assessment before implementing any new technology or AI system. DPIAs help identify potential risks to privacy and compliance, ensuring they're addressed proactively. They can be quite a daunting document to put together, but most technology partners will collaborate with you to complete this process. A DPIA not only ensures compliance with data protection laws, but also reinforces responsible data use. Charities handle sensitive and supporter information all the time, making it essential for AI systems to align with the core data protection principles we discussed: the transparency, the fairness, and the accountability. A DPIA will help with those AI-driven processes and respect individual data rights by incorporating safeguards such as anonymization and data minimization, which is ensuring that only necessary data is collected and processed. Another key practice is mapping data flows, and I've put an example of what Dataro's looks like on the screen here. It's understanding where our data comes from, how AI is processing it, and where it's stored. And this visibility helps prevent unintended data misuse. And finally, transparency doesn't stop at compliance. It's also about, as I said, engaging with our stakeholders and supporters, and both supporters and staff should understand how AI is being used and have opportunities to voice concerns. This fosters trust and ensures AI remains a tool for good, not a black box of decision-making. And this can be reflected in your policies and codes of conduct. So that's it from me, Whistle Top Tour. Thanks for listening, and get in touch if you have any questions or want to go through any of the content in more detail. Apologies I couldn't deliver it in Italian. I hope you've managed to follow it. But I also wanted to share a few resources with you to go away with. Firstly, the part on sort of the ethical and implementation of AI, there's a really interesting framework which the Resource Alliance has pulled together, which is definitely worth a read, and it is available online to go through. But if you're looking to adopt any new AI tools and platforms, definitely something to consider looking at before you endeavour on that. Also our knowledge base, we've got a knowledge base online, Dataro, so if you've got any questions around using this type of technology, it's a really good resource. It also has lots of practical tips and benchmarking and free tools as well for you to use. So do go having a look. And if you want to have a play around with any of our predictive models, there's also a demo app, which the link for is here as well. So do get in touch if you've got any questions or, as I said, want to go through anything in more detail. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Lizzie. This was our first case study about software application that is actually tailored for the fundraiser. So thank you for explaining how you work and just also approaching the ethical aspect of your platform in a very savvy way. See you next year then.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.